Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the stillness of Mount Kailash, the icy winds, the silence of the peaks, the hush of eternity. There sits Shiva, unmoving, timeless, beyond definition. His matted hair carries the river of life. His throat holds the poison of the world, and his third eye, sealed most of the time, radiates a mystery we have tried to decode for thousands of years. What is this eye? Why does the great destroyer need another eye when two are already enough to see the world? Is it a myth, a symbol, or a door to something beyond human imagination? The sages say the two eyes show us appearance, but the third eye reveals truth. The two eyes are bound by time and space, but the third eye gazes into eternity. The two eyes see what the mind wants to see, but the third eye burns away illusion. To understand Shiva's third eye is to understand not just divinity, but the very architecture of perception. Let us enter this journey slowly, like walking into a cave lit by a single flame, mysterious, uncertain, yet deeply compelling. The story of Kama Dahana, the burning of desire. In the vast ocean of Indian mythology, one story glows like fire when we speak of the third eye, the tale of Kama Dahana, the burning of desire. Once the gods were in deep trouble. A mighty demon, Tarakasura, had grown almost invincible. Only a son born of Shiva could destroy him. But Shiva, lost in meditation after the death of his beloved Sati, sat unmoving. Time passed, creation trembled, and the gods grew desperate. So they sought the help of Kama, the god of desire. "Awaken Shiva," they said. "Disturb his meditation, so he may marry again and give birth to a savior." Kama, armed with his sugar-cane bow and flower-tipped arrows, approached the mountain. He pulled the string, let loose his arrow of desire, and it struck the meditating Shiva. For a flicker of a moment, Shiva opened his eyes, and then the unimaginable happened. From the center of his forehead, a fire blazed forth, the third eye burst open. The flames of pure awareness shot out, and Kama was reduced to ashes in an instant. Desire had dared to touch the one beyond desire, and it was destroyed. The myth is metaphor. Now pause. Don't treat this as a fantasy of gods and demons. Every myth in the Shiva tradition is a mirror of human psychology. Who is Kama? He is not an external god with arrows of flowers. He is the restless longing inside you, the constant itch to possess, to consume, to chase, to cling, desire itself. And what is Shiva's third eye? It is the inner flame of awareness. The two eyes see the outer object of desire, beauty, wealth, recognition. But the third eye sees the chain, how each desire breeds another, how fulfillment is temporary, how the mind remains enslaved. When Shiva opens his third eye, he doesn't kill Kama the god. He burns Kama within. He destroys the dominance of longing, not desire in its healthy form, but desire as bondage. Thus, Kama Dahana is not an external battle. It is the story of every seeker. When awareness deepens, blind craving loses its grip. Why a third eye? The logic of symbolism. Why did the sages choose an eye as the symbol? Why not a flame, a weapon, or a jewel? Because the eye is the organ of perception. Through the eye, the world is revealed. But ordinary eyes only show you fragments, form, color, surface. They show you what is outside, not what is real. So the third eye is placed on the forehead, between the brows, not looking outward, but inward. It is an eye that doesn't open to objects. It opens to essence. It doesn't reveal things. It reveals truth. The logic is poetic and precise. When inner vision awakens, you no longer stumble in darkness. You see the patterns of karma, the flow of time, the illusion of identity. You see the difference between what appears real and what truly is. And so Shiva's third eye is not an ornament. It is the axis of his divinity. 2 eyes versus the third eye. Let us reflect. With 2 eyes you see duality, night and day, pleasure and pain, gain and loss. You live in the play of opposites. With the third eye, duality collapses. You see the eternal and the temporary. You see the same self shining in friend and enemy. You see beyond birth and death. The 2 eyes are bound by senses. The third eye transcends sense. The 2 eyes are personal. The third eye is universal. Thus, in yogic tradition, the Ajna chakra, the energy center between the eyebrows, is seen as the seat of this eye. Ajna means command, authority, because when the third eye awakens, you are no longer a slave to instincts and conditioning. You live under the command of clarity, the fire of destruction. But here lies a subtle point. Why is the third eye always described with fire? When Shiva opens his third eye, cities turn to ash, illusions crumble. The universe trembles. Why? Because truth is fire. It burns away the false. When light shines, darkness has no choice but to vanish. When awareness rises, ignorance cannot survive. The third eye doesn't destroy creation. It destroys confusion. It doesn't kill life. It kills delusion. It doesn't end the world. It ends the world of lies. That is why Shiva, the destroyer, is never a negative force. His destruction is the highest compassion. He does not destroy you. He destroys that which is not you. The inner third eye. Let's move from mythology to meditation. The sages say every human carries this potential third eye. It is not about a literal eye sprouting on your forehead. It is about a dimension of perception waiting to open. Have you noticed? Sometimes you just know without knowing how you know. A danger avoided, a truth sensed, a decision made without logic. That is a flicker of the inner eye. When the mind is noisy, this eye remains shut. When the mind is silent, it begins to open. That is why meditation is not about chanting mantras, mechanically or sitting stiff like a rock. Meditation is a gradual quieting of inner chatter. In that silence, the eye of wisdom blinks open. The Upanishads call it Jnana Chakshu, the eye of knowledge. The Buddhists call it Prajna, insight. The Christians call it the eye of the soul. All point to the same awakening, the ability to see truth without filters. Transition to part 2. Shiva's third eye, then, is not just his symbol. It is our possibility. The question is, will we live with only 2 eyes, forever chasing forms, forever fooled by surfaces? Or will we dare to open the third and see what lies beyond? In part 2, we shall journey deeper. What does opening the third eye mean in real life? How can awareness shape daily choices, love, leadership, and destiny? How do we recognize the difference between fantasy and true vision? And finally, how to live with the blessing of Shiva's third eye, not as a myth in the sky, but as a living fire within. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya.